Being aware of the potential of a radiation emergency is the first step in preparedness, but it's not the last. In this video, what we're going to talk about is what to do about it. What to do if you or one of your family members is exposed to radioactive materials. Hey everybody, this is Praxis. It's been a minute since I shot a video here in my fallout shelter. Unfortunately, events in the world continue to march forward in that direction, which I think makes it prudent for people like yourself or myself to be thinking about this, have it on our radar, top off any preps that you may have, maybe engage in some new prepping, just on the topic of radiological emergencies. Now, in this video, I'm not going to be talking about building a fallout shelter. I've done videos on that in the past, and down in the description below, I'll put a link to, I believe I made a whole playlist series about building this structure. So if you're interested in putting something like this together, you could check that out. And I would recommend that you give it some thought. A lot of people don't want to build a fallout shelter because they just think, well, it's kind of like a one-purpose structure, and if there's never a nuclear emergency, I've just wasted all my time putting it together. But you get a lot of cross-benefit out of a structure like this, especially the way that we built it. I built it underground, so I can use it as a root cellar. We also, as you can see, use it for extra storage. There's a lot of extra pantry food in here. It's a storm shelter if you live in like an area that's prone to tornadoes or any kind of intense storms. It's a storm shelter that you can come into. Gosh, like if my house ever burned down or was destroyed, it'd be a place that I could come to, and I guess I could live out of here while I rebuild the house. There's a lot of cross benefits you can get out of it. So it's not the kind of situation where you have to be crossing your fingers and hoping that there's a nuclear emergency, see, like get your money's worth out of it. There's a lot of benefit that you can get that's outside of radioactive emergencies. But in this video, what I want to talk about, instead of building a structure like this, and I'm not going to pitch it any more than I already have, is treating radiation symptoms and dealing with having a radioactive material in your body in a situation where you or your family members may have been exposed to it. There are things that you can do to try to flush that material out of your body, and that's what I want to focus on in this video, is what types of things you may want to have on hand for that purpose, and what are the procedures for utilizing said medications and other substances in the event that, unfortunately, the world keeps marching in this direction. I love tubs for storing preps, and in this tub, I have all my medication related to removing radioactive material from a person's body or trying to block the uptake of radioactive material from a person's body. But right on top, above all the medications, I have information, because information is super important. It's great to have the tool that you may need, but if you don't know how to use the tool, you may actually do more harm than good. And with that, I'm just going to mention that I'm not a medical doctor, and this is just my personal understanding of things, and you should always double check everything, yada, yada, yada. This is just me sharing what I understand as I understand it, and especially on a topic like this where there is unfortunately so little real research done on it. There are a lot of holes. We know what we know, and we don't know what we don't know. So I have this, which is a printout from the National Council on Radiation Protection and Measurements. I've had this in here for the longest time, and it's got all the information on all these different medications and like how much you should use for a given circumstance. I'm not going to use this during the video, though, because instead I'm going to be using the information from my new book. I took all the information from that printout and just condensed it in a much, personally, I think, a lot easier to go through, kind of more digestible form. So I'm going to be using this book as I go through. If you're not familiar with this, it's just a book on all sorts of different prepping things. When it gets into specific stuff that it's kind of hard to remember, like what's the dosaging for taking something because you've been exposed to strontium. It's like, who's going to remember that 5 years in the future when you need that? Or shelf life extension programs for, not even related to radiation medication, but just like, this aspirin, it's past expiration. Like, is this aspirin still good? All the studies on that have been done, but the information just spread all over the place, all over the internet and everywhere else. I took all of it and I just digested it into like really easy to use charts. So I put all that in here, like purifying purifying water, you know, if you have a gallon of water, like how much bleach am I supposed to put in? Is it half and half, or is it a teaspoon, or is it just a couple drops? All that kind of information that's like kind of hard to remember. It's all in this book, and I'm going to be going in here while I dive through all the stuff that's in here. If you want to get your own copy of this book, I've got a link in the description below to this. So right on top here, we've got potassium iodide in this and in here. I've got a lot of potassium iodide. And the big reason for that is just it's so inexpensive to get potassium iodide at this point. If you had a radiation emergency, the stuff would be like gold, and you probably just couldn't even get it. People wouldn't be willing to sell it to you for any price. But at this point, it's super easy and cheap to get the stuff, so I've got a lot of it. In addition to potassium iodide, I've got a little bit more there. I also have Lugol's solution, which is an iodine solution. I've got a fair bit of that. That's also not particularly expensive. That can also be used to protect your thyroid. I believe it can also be used to purify water, which would be in here. Let me just double check that. Yeah, right in the water purification section. Yeah, Lugol solution. It's a 5% tincture, and if I have a gallon of water, putting 10 drops of Lugol solution in would purify it. Apparently, if it's cloudy water, the suggestion is 20 drops. So that's the kind of information I have in this book. It's like all that kind of stuff. It's like, who's going to remember how many drops it was? So I got a lot of Lugol solution in there. And then we get into some other things. One of them is this calcium carbonate, I believe? Tums is calcium carbonate. Yeah, calcium carbonate here, and also calcium phosphate. These are two different types of powders that we have. Well, this one's in kind of pill form. Let's see what those are for. Like right in the back here, I have got the section on, oh, this is a good section here. This is all radiation readings. If you were in a shelter and you want to know whether it was safe to go outside, you know, you may have your battery powered radio, and the government may declare like it's safe to go out just because they realize people are going to start starving to death, and they don't want to create more panic. But you want to know whether it's safe or actually safe. So I've got all the information about like different radiation level meter reading exposure levels, and well, I really butchered that, but you get what I'm saying. And you know what's considered safe, what's considered elevated. So like if there's like a political reason for the government to tell us, like, don't worry, it's safe. Like what happens around every single environmental disaster site, whenever it happens, it's like they do a little bit of cleaning up and then it's safe after that. Yeah, I've got a whole table on that. Anyway, that's a little bit of a side trip there. Okay, let's go to the back here. This is about building your own shelter in here. Made it all beautiful, full color. Okay, these are different isotopes and treatments, and this is medication references for individual medications. So I had calcium carbonate and calcium phosphate. Now calcium carbonate is useful for radium 226 and strontium 90 exposure. And the way that it works is by it competes for the bone binding sites. Apparently those two things like to bind to your bones if they get into your body, and taking calcium carbonate will kind of fill up all those holes in the same way that the potassium iodide kind of saturates your thyroid gland so that it can't uptake the radioactive iodine. The calcium carbonate saturates your bones so that you're not taking up radioactive radium or strontium, which I guess chemically, biologically kind of mimics calcium in your body. And the calcium phosphate, I believe the calcium carbonate is super cheap, so I got tons of that. Calcium phosphate, I believe, is a little bit more expensive. I'm a little bit, less ODing on this kind of stuff. Calcium phosphate was also for radium and strontium. So again, they're just two different ways of getting calcium into your body. Let's clear those out of there and share a few more things. Apopectin. We've got apopectin in pill form and apopectin in powder form. No particular reason, just there are different ways of taking it up. I mean, this one obviously you can just swallow, and this maybe you could mix in with juice, like if it's like trying to get it into a kid's body and they have trouble swallowing pills. We've got the pectin as well. I guess you could just mix it into water, but that would probably be pretty gross. Now, this part I do remember. Pectin, it's been used a bit for radiation exposure, but the hard data on whether it's effective or not, it's a little bit more on the anecdotal side. And I separated out the stuff that has more clinical documentation versus more anecdotal. Here are some more of the anecdotal things. Baking soda, bentonite clay, Metamucil, and pectin. Pectin, I guess, was used after the Chernobyl incident, and there were claims that it helped kids to flush radioactive material out of their bodies. But there was also a study in 2006 in rats, and it suggested that pectin is not useful, at least in removing cesium-137. Now, the way scientific studies are always done, just because something was done in a scientific study doesn't mean that the scientific study was organized properly, or maybe they had like a messy control group. I've seen a lot of lousy studies, especially during the COVID era where like a study would come out and it's like, geez, they don't even have a control group in this one. Like, how do they even know whether their intervention is what's doing that? There's just a lot of studies out there that are pretty lousy. So I included that in here and mentioned that there might be some conflicting data on that. But the nice thing about apple pectin is, unless you're allergic to apple pectin, it's not going to hurt you to take it. So I've got it in here, and it's the kind of thing where you may as well do it. If it is going to benefit you, then it'll benefit you, and if it's not going to hurt you anyway. I think a lot of preps are nice when they're kind of like that, where it's like, well, worst case scenario, I just got some pectin into my body. Here's another one that's kind of anecdotal. This is Metamucil, and Metamucil is in the anecdotal section. The idea of what Metamucil is useful for, and I think it makes logical sense, so it probably goes beyond just anecdotal. Metamucil helps to, keep us regular, that's its point, and the more that you're kind of flushing stuff through your body, the more stuff is being flushed through your body. So insofar as there's stuff in your digestive system that might be radioactive, taking something like Metamucil, the idea is that it's going to just kind of flush it through your body. Additionally, there are some other things in here like bentonite clay that can constipate you. So if the way it is with medications, oftentimes like you take one medication and then you take another medication to work on the side effects of that medication, and this medication has side effects, you need another one for that. So the Metamucil almost in some ways is kind of a compensating for the side effects of some of the other medications in here that might tend to bind people up, or at the very least just kind of flushing things through your body. What else do we have in here? That's my pectin, and more calcium carbonate, and what is that? Okay, yeah. Pill splitter. I think that's pretty important. Anything that comes in pill form, if you need to break it down for like a kid or something, a lot of these are the adult sizes. I think it's 130 milligrams is the adult dosage, but a kid's half that, depending on the kid's size. 65, I believe, is half, yeah. So having a pill splitter, it's hard to split a pill in half, effectively, repeatedly, without having a pill splitter. So, it's like $1 or something like that to throw it in there. So I threw that in there as well. What else do we have in here? That's more potassium iodide. It's just so damn cheap. Okay, this one is not so damn cheap. This is... Are these both in? No. Okay, these are two different ones. I ordered another one of these. Where is the other one? This is Prussian blue. And this is... Oh yeah, here's the other one. These are not cheap. Prussian blue is the pigmentation that gets used to make Prussian blue oil paint. So it's an art additive, but it also has other benefits. And one of them, if I can find it in my book here, Prussian blue, right here, got a whole section on it here. It's administered to deal with cesium-137. And the way that it does it is ion exchange. Okay, well, I included the information from the other website. That doesn't mean I necessarily understand it. It inhibits enterohepatic recirculation in the GI tract. So it sounds kind of like what it does is it prevents it from, the cesium from hanging out in your GI tract and recirculating or something like that. Anyway, it's supposed to be beneficial. There have been a fair number of studies on that. So I got some Prussian blue. Now, like I said, it's not cheap. I forget what it is. One of these containers is kind of like one dosage, not like you take it all at once, but like one treatment regimen for one person. And at this point, I've saved up enough to have 2 of these so it's like one full regimen for for 2 people. So it's expensive. I think each one of these is like $100 or so. It's like $99. So I've been kind of slowly adding those. But that's another thing that I've added here. And yeah, it says a 30-day course per the FDA. The FDA suggested it's a 30-day course if you use it, and it's only FDA approved for ages 2 years and older. So they have not tested it on 2-year-olds, although when in the past has not testing something on an age group prevented the FDA from requiring that age group to get that medical intervention. So anyway, that's where it stands with Prussian blue. I think that's probably the most expensive of all the things that I have in here, possibly. What are some of the other ones? This is barium sulfate. And a lot of these I've ordered from chemical laboratories. Barium sulfate, what was that for? I've got that in here. This is all alphabetic, so it's easy enough to find. That's the thing, is like that other printout and that other website, it's just like you really got to read over the whole thing to feel like you actually got it all. In this one, I've got it all organized, so you can just go right to the section you need. Okay, so barium is used for radium 226 and strontium 90, and it works by blocking intestinal absorption. I think I can figure that one out. It keeps it from being absorbed by your intestine. And it talks about the dosage and how often to give the treatment. So that's the barium sulfate that we have in here. This one here is Gaviscon, and I believe what this one had, it had aluminum something or other. I think it has aluminum hydroxide in it. And if that's the case, I'd look on the side of the thing to confirm that before I ever took it. If it is aluminum hydroxide, it is useful for radium 226 and strontium 90 again, and this also blocks intestinal absorption. As I understand it, not all Gaviscon uses the aluminum hydroxide. I guess with all medications there are side effects, and I guess there are some side effects with aluminum hydroxide that had at least some people concerned. So there's multiple versions of Gaviscon, so you'd want to double check that the type that you're getting actually has the aluminum hydroxide if you want to get aluminum hydroxide into your system. Let's see, what else do I have here? Anything? That'd be kind of it. Oh, I have some bentonite clay at the bottom. And the bentonite clay, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a powdered clay. And this absorbs and flushes materials through your body. It also definitely causes constipation. So that's what I have in here, is a lot of different medications, and more importantly, the information on how to use them. Now, if you want to get this book, there's a description, there's a link down in the description below if you want to pick up your own copy of this. At this point, I've got 2 for me. I keep one in the fallout shelter, and I have one in my everyday carry pack. But if you just want to get the information on this, and you don't mind kind of sifting through it, and it's a little bit more messy, you can always just download that page, but print it out. It's not enough just to save it to your hard drive, because what if your computer's not working, or whatever, it's a good idea to print things out. I'm a big fan of having a printed physical copy. So that's what I have in my container. That's not all the medication that I have here. That's just the medication that I have related to radiation exposure. We also have other bins for just regular medications that are just eyeballing it from over here. There's respirators and even vitamins and all sorts of different things. If you want to know more about building a fallout shelter, like I said, again, there's a link down in the description below to building one of these things. I've gotten an awful lot of use out of it. Even just when we were building our house, we built the root cellar here first, so I was able to use it as a storage area for things to keep them out of the weather while we were building our main house. There's just, it's hard to go wrong just building yourself a little bit of extra storage space. And if you create a storage space that you can use as a fallout shelter, and you make electric lighting and running water in it, all the better. That's it. I hope you found this video helpful, and thanks for watching. Hey YouTube preppers, if you enjoyed this video, here's another that I think you might like. But before you click on it, I wanted to take a moment to thank all the people you see on the right-hand side of your screen. They help to support all the work that I do here over at patreon.com. If you'd like to join them and get your name added to the list, the link's below.